essays for UPSC Civil Services Examination. So why I mention UPSC specifically CSEs, because essays ka nature will change according to examination. The type of essays you must write in your school or college, or essays that you write for any other examination, is not same, okay, compared to essays for UPSC Civil Services. Because essays, okay, the nature that they are, I said they are a type of a continuous prose. UPSC may they surprise you with a topic, and there's a reason why they do with you with a topic. Okay, and you must write approximately 1,000 to 1,200 words. Okay, and you must write continuous prose, 1,000 words, and exam. Okay, 2 essays into 2. Okay, 2 essays, say approximately 1.5 hours. Now there is a reason why they do this. If you make somebody write consistently for 10 pages or 12 pages, so what you write ultimately is, through the topic, you actually write about yourself. I always believe this, that essays that you write, they are a window to your personality. This is a very important realization for all of you, that essays are a window to your personality. So what you write, okay, the topic that you're given is an excuse to make you write, an excuse to get you started. And when you start writing, you actually write less about the topic. You're writing actually what you think about the topic. That's why I'm saying it's a window to your personality. So what essays does is, it helps the examiner, okay, evaluate you as a person, okay, for the purpose you are being selected. Okay, this I think is a very important realization. Essays are not mere write-ups on creativity. Essays are not mere information of current affairs. Current affairs ek bahana hai. Current affairs or the topic is an excuse. They make you write so that you ultimately express what you are, who you are as a person. And I see, yes, it's a type of a written interview. Accepted. I acknowledge that comparison. So when they make you write an essay, because you can't anticipate it, because you can't guess the topic, because you can never be sure about kya puchega, it's impossible you can be prepared about it. So literally you are writing spontaneously. So agar aap ye samajh mein aa gaya aapko that your personality is being judged, they are not seeing your language, they are not evaluating your information base, they're not seeing your knowledge for the sake of seeing knowledge, but through the knowledge, they are judging you as a person. And you as a person for what purpose? You as a person for administration. So I always say this, that what is a good essay? Okay, a good essay is one that reflects all your qualities that's okay, important and expected of you as an administrator. Okay, the essay mein kya hona chahiye? If I make a list of this, your essays must reflect your social sensitivity. Your essays must reflect your analytical skills. Your essays must not show any biases that you might have. Your essays must not show any political leanings. Of course, you'll have political choices, but it should not be shown on the essay as convenient as obviously. Your essays are not supposed to be technical, as in They're not looking at you as a scholar, maybe an expert in some domain. No. And that's the reason why they ask you abstract topics. Abstract topics don't belong to any one domain. Abstract topics are not a part of any one subject. Even philosophy may be nahi aayega entire topic. So the abstract topics mein, you can't tie it down to any one current affairs. Ki polity hai, ki economy hai, it's about history, it's about geography, it's about science, technology, aisa nahi. Of course, you will use information from different sources that you have read, but you are not supposed to be a technical expert. And that's why I say be very careful if you have a topic that has an overlap with your optional paper. Because instinctively what happens is we end up showing our optional knowledge. Okay. We end up showing our expertise in the technical area, jo nahi hona chahiye. Okay, so without being technical, without being biased, whether you are socially sensitive, and very importantly, do you have a problem-solving mind? Problem-solving mind. Okay, is your essay based on good arguments? Are you capable of giving good arguments, good logic? So they're testing your logical skills. They're testing your argumentative, persuasive skills. They're testing your social sensitivity. They're testing your commitment for national development. That's testing your commitment for national development. They are evaluating, okay, what principles you stand for. What principles you stand for. So principles which are eternal, value systems, talking about compassion, talking about patience, accommodation, honesty, punctuality, jitne bhi principles hain, democracy, women rights, environment issues. So ye jo principles hain, we say these are infallible principles. You cannot question, you cannot go against the principles in the name of creativity. Okay, so your essays have to be sensible in terms of women issues. They have to be sensitive about social problems. You cannot be dismissive of poverty, agriculture. You cannot be dismissive of virtues of peaceful living, our constitution's allegiance. So yahi aapka hoga good essay. Good essay is not in terms of the language was brilliant or not. Good essay is not in terms of whether you are writing in a great handwriting or not. Good essay is not if you have all the points. Many students, many aspirants, they count a good essay in terms of how many points did we write down. I say no. The points can be less. You can have 4, 5, 6 good points, but how do you treat those points are important. I remember a student came up to me after examination. Sir, ye topic tha, and I wrote on social media. I also wrote a bit on the problems of Indian agriculture. I also touched on issues of geopolitical. As listing kara diya mujhe. How is my essay? I said, you're only giving me the points you have touched. I have no idea about how did you say it, with what examples, how did you structure the flow of your write-up, what arguments were you offering in support of your say stand. So if you simply mention the points, okay, I cannot judge whether essay was good or bad. So it's not about how many points you write, it's more about how you treat those points and whether those points are in sync with these aspects of the essays writing in UPSC. Your social sensitivity, stand by the principles, make sure you have no biases, you show a problem-solving attitude, you have a commitment for national development, you respect the environment, you respect democracy, all the virtues that our constitution stands for. It's like if your essay can tick off all the important points of our preamble, the work is done. Preamble में इतने अच्छे qualities लिखे हुए हैं, socialist and fraternity, we the people of India believing in democracy, they're talking about brother, whatever good qualities the preamble stands for is what your essay must represent about you. Okay, so that's a quick discussion on what is a good essay. Now see, why students don't score good marks? Why students don't score good marks? When I say good marks, I'm looking at marks, I'll say more than 130 plus. In any case, not less than 125. Less than 125 out of 250, I'll say is poor marks. Okay, this will not get you the rank that you need. And 130 plus, good number of them who get an interview call and qualify, they are in the range of 135 and 140 plus, go to 145. Itne range mein rakhoge, so you have a fair chance of qualifying. Okay, so I don't see you should be targeting less than this. But okay, 150 definitely possible, 160 bhi mila hai, but that gets a bit too ambitious. ठीक है, let it that be your upper limit, ठीक है. But 135, 140, 145 is what you can get if you have got the basics right. So when I'm saying why students don't score good marks, the 4 or 5 points, and see if you have had those points. Now see, the idea of an essay, okay, is of course there is a word limit. You cannot write incessantly. There is a time limit. There is a time limit. The topic defines the boundaries. You cannot write beyond the boundaries. The time limit typically is about 1.5 hours per essay. Word limit, I'll say 1,000 is a good word for your essays. And the topic defines the boundaries. So given these limits, I hope you all understand your essay cannot be a comprehensive essay. A comprehensive ka matlab kya hota hai? Like an essay that covers all points. Like you have taken up a topic and sare points a comprehensive essay. We say no. If you have a word limit, if you have a time limit, and you're thinking literally sitting on the seat, and the topic defines what exactly it wants. So when you do this, you should not be attempting a complete essay. Sorry, a comprehensive essay. So in these limits, what I'm saying is, no comprehensive essay possible. Comprehensive essay possible. Okay, that's a very important point. So if you try to pump too much of points, too much of dimensions, too many areas in the name of richness, to make your essay diverse and rich, अगर आपने बहुत ज़्यादा point डाल दिया, you're only doing disservice to yourself. Okay, so the idea is not that. The idea is, two very important things. One is your essay must have an element of, impressive content. So please differentiate what is comprehensive content and what is an impressive content. And the impressive content must include completeness. So completeness does not come with comprehensive. Completeness comes with whether you have written the most important thing or not. Completeness comes with, have you been able to link your discussions with what's obvious, what you could not have missed. Completeness comes with, one or two interesting ideas also. Completeness comes with giving a global perspective and also a local perspective. Completeness comes with, where possible, some solutions also. Then I say your essay is complete. So completeness, I repeat. When I say completeness, I'm looking at what? Completeness in terms of have you covered the important points? So rather than all points, I'm saying be selective. Be selective ki kya likhe? Because dekho, again, word limit hai or time limit hai. Something might have 10 dimensions, but I don't need 10 dimensions. Holistic is not what we need. We do not need holistic as in completeness, or as in comprehensive. We need holistic in terms of completeness. So be selective to not miss the most important point. And then we also need some interesting points. Interesting that tells us कि you have thought about it differently. एक ही point हो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. That tells me you are capable of thinking differently. You are capable of analyzing in a bit different way. You are capable of treatment which others cannot do. So some interesting idea which others might miss. Okay, completeness includes, okay, it includes analysis. Analysis means you go into depths and talk about the reasons associated. Analysis is breaking down something to its important fundamental issues. Analysis is about, again, deep diving into the root of any issue. So essay must have analysis. And देखो analysis में you cannot do analysis if you have only one sentence to write down. Analysis के मतलब एक उठाओ point and write about maybe 1 page on it. Write about 1.5 page on it. That's why when you have a word limit and you have a time limit, if you start writing on all the points, you cannot do justice. So analysis का मतलब है something must be discussed at appropriate depth. Or appropriate depth में you must have 1 page, 1.5 page of write-up on the issue that you have taken up. So essay has to be analytical. Your essay must have some global and some local perspective. If it is a topic that you think identifies best with India, see if you can find some global link also. If a topic has more important global perspective, see if you can add some bit of Indian dimension also. You've covered all the aspects there. A global aspect, and I said wherever possible, okay, at least do discuss solutions or way forward. Every topic, every theme, every idea can have a way forward. What to do next? कि आगे क्या कर सकते हैं? If your topic is like a virtue, the topic is about some value systems, the topic is a philosophical one talking about some wisdom, then what's the way forward? अगर इतना अच्छा idea है, तो आगे क्या कर सकते हैं बताइए? How can we imbibe this value in our children? What can we do so that the society starts living that type of a life? What can the government do in terms of making that value a mainstream priority? So what's the way forward? So if you do some of this, then your essay has an edge over the others, which in the workshop I said that there is a CIA mnemonic, what makes the essay interesting. So C stands for credibility. आप जो भी बोलो, it must be supported with facts, supported with examples, supported with data where possible. Make your essay credible. मतलब ज्ञान के लिए ज्ञान ना दें आप. Don't just speak superfluously. Don't simply talk about something on the surface. Tell us, why do you think so? So some reference reports, some reference to books, some reference to data, some programs maybe. यहाँ पर आपका GS बहुत काम आता है. Whatever you have read in GS, across history, geography, polity, economy, governance, science, technology. So make your essays credible. Because ultimately essays are series of arguments. Essays are series of persuasive positions. To make it strong, give some data, credible. Now, essays must be insightful. What's insightful? Insightful का मतलब है something interesting, something deep, about an issue which otherwise is missed out. अगर insights हैं, and insights generally will force you to talk about psychology, talk about maybe the roots in political system. Insights will link you to human nature based discussions. Insights will take you towards history. कि इसका roots हमारे historical developments में है maybe. So insights are very important. And not simply bland facts. Tell us what interesting you can tell us. Tell us what's new in your idea. So insightful will include some element of creativity. Insightful will be deep discussions. Insightful will be some new novel ideas. And A, of course, is the essay has to be analytical. The essay has to be analytical. So why people don't score good marks even after they have written 10, 12, 15 pages, even after they have pumped in information? Okay, this is it. Was the essay complete in all dimensions, which are relevant and prioritized? Plus, insights the ya nahi? Did you have good examples, good data and support? Okay, so your essay writing will require GS content, but don't stop at that. In all of this discussion, least important thing I think is your language. When I say least important, I do not mean bad language. I mean a good, decent language, words that convey what you want to say without the errors. So language I consider as a hygiene factor. वो basic must do hai, but that will not get you the edge over the others. It's like, if I want to get into movies, acting is a hygiene factor. अगर acting नहीं आती है तो फिर यहाँ क्यों ही आए हो? With acting, can you dance? Can you sing? Maybe your looks, your contacts, your probably referrals, वो भी important है. So if you are giving the examination, a hygiene factor is, can you write in English or the language that you have opted for? So language important hai, but language is not the differentiator for good marks. But yes, bad language can definitely get you negative markings. Bad language can piss off an examiner. कि यार इतने examination के level में आए हो, you do not know a basic spelling, you do not know a basic word, you've got terrible grammatical errors, it will upset the examiner. But language on its own will not take you the distance. There's a quick summary of what I had covered as a part of the workshops. Some points I've added here. So I have explained what I mean by a good essay. Any questions you want me to clarify? What's under insightful? Oh, what I wrote here. I wrote insightful is something that's creative, insightful, that has enough of depth in its arguments. And insight is something new. Creative hai, naya hai, deep hai insights. That makes the write-up interesting. Insights. Okay? How to improve language? Himanshu, the only way is you start observing the language and the words in your newspaper. For essays, I will not recommend any separate book. The same book, Bipin Chandra. The same articles of your Express or Hindu or Economic Times, whatever. The same, say reference books, NCERT is included as a part of the GS. So how to improve language? So when you read books, you also focus on what are the words that have been used, how are they using it. No separate books for essay. What does the essay look like? आप basically पूछ रहे हो the presentation aspect of an essay. Presentation aspect of essay में essays are, if I talk about the definition, essays are continuous prose. Continuous prose का मतलब होता है series of paragraphs. This is what an essay is. A purist essay. Example of an essay is your editorial article. The continuously paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, no bullets, paragraphs, no diagrams, no sketches. The series of paragraphs is a true, is an ideal essay. But I believe UPSC is not making you do this. UPSC's write-up is more like a report. It's more like a report. Report ka matlab hai, I'll say 85-90% of essay should be paragraphs. But embellish what you can, where you can use, you should use 5-6 subheadings. You can use 1 or 2 pictorial tools. एक schematic डाल दिया, एक graph डाल दिया, बस एक पूरे essay में एक. You can use bullets. So a paragraph, and 1, 2, 3 bullets, and again a paragraph. ये भी कर सकते हैं. So it's not a typical essay as an essay the way English literature would talk about essays. It's more of a report writing. And why do I insist on have 5-6 subheads? Subheads help the examiner evaluate you better and faster. ठीक है? देखो, अगर article है, the articles have a way of highlighting what's important. कैसे? They type it bold or they put italics, correct? आप कैसे करोगे? So to highlight what's important, okay, you write a paragraph and put a heading. And you write one paragraph, a second paragraph, a third paragraph, a fourth paragraph, put another heading. So this heading helps the examiner know the dimensions are now different. It helps an examiner know what areas you have covered. And this is a way of flaunting, showing off कि this is my great idea, ध्यान दो इसको, ये खत्म हुआ, this is my another next idea. So subheadings, I believe, are a very good way of scoring good marks. Of course, subheading should have different dimensions. आपके पास dimension नहीं है तो क्या heading दोगे आप? If all of your body is only nose, फिर heading जरूरत नहीं है. और eyes है तो eyes लिखो. जहां पर hands है तो वहां hands लिखो. Where you have your legs, write down legs. So if you want to have subheadings, you better have different dimensions that you are discussing. So most people have a problem in identifying kya dimensions. So they conveniently hide behind not giving dimensions or not giving headings. So I've discussed two things. Okay, one is what makes an essay good. Okay, and importantly, how will you write an impressive essay? Okay, don't try good essays. Good essays में तो points लिख दिया हो गया. Impressive ones. Okay, insightful, credibility, depth, analysis, and so on. And remember, not to compromise under any circumstances the principles which are universally valid. For example, a principle called as sustainable development. It's okay if I don't believe in it in private. But paper में लिखना पड़ेगा, it's a great idea. Because it's an established principle. The global warming has to be stopped. You have no other way out. But privately, maybe I am Donald Trump himself. So I will not talk about, okay, that there is no global warming. तो यहां पर झूठ बोलना पड़े तो बोलो. So you cannot afford to go against what has been accepted and adopted as a universal principle. So paper में दिखाने के लिए ही we have to be multicultural, we have to be accommodative, respectful, अच्छी बातें लिखो. Deep down inside, I know I'm a racist, I am communal, and I know it. I'm a sexist, I know this. But on the paper, the principles have to be respected. So honesty के नाम में, don't end up telling, okay, the type of ass you are otherwise. ठीक है? कोई जरूरत नहीं है. You don't believe in women equality? रखो उसको. Qualify करने के बाद में जो करना है कर लेना. On the paper, you are an epitome of women empowerment. आप leader, आप feminist ही हो. Okay, that's how you have to show your positioning. Different languages. Why? Okay, language English ही रखना है. Okay, I mean, you having other languages means you're bankrupt in your ideas. Okay, maybe one sloka for most of us, the only that we know is Vasudev Kutumbakam. उसके आगे हमें पता ही नहीं है. English में लिखो. If it's English language as your choice. Okay, so English रखना है. Yes. Okay, now, conventionally, we have some myths. कुछ हमारे wrong ideas है about essays. I want to demolish that and then I'll move on. So what are the myths? Myths about essays. Number one, I said, language is very important. I have qualified this already. Important hai, but not like you think it's important. Somebody good in language necessarily will not score great marks. In fact, I'll say, okay language, great ideas will get brilliant marks. But great language, okay ideas, you'll get penalized. So what this shows me is, great language invariably is because you have come from a privileged background. लेकिन ideas एकदम pedestrian है. So I will know that you are not worth it. But somebody with okay language, I know you have got a modest background. and great ideas, you are a great asset for us. That's the way an examiner will evaluate you in terms of whether you will be a good administrator or not. There is a flamboyance, but muh kholte hi, you know, this guy is a racist. Okay, for flamboyance style, the moment you speak, you know, you have got no ideas about your speaking. You're penalized. But somebody modest, simple shirt, trousers, sitting quietly, but when he starts speaking, he speaks a lot of sense. Oh, I am floored there. This is the guy that we want. So language matters only as much. Keep it simple. Okay, keep it error-free without spelling errors. The language is important, but I've qualified this. Second is the debate about comprehensive versus completeness. I think, okay, you have got the idea now. Comprehensive we cannot write. Okay, comprehensive के लिए हमारे पास time नहीं है, ना word है. Completeness is what you have to focus on. Now, another big problem with the essays is most of us talk about writing balanced essays. Okay, I think all of us will agree our essays have to be balanced. The problem is we do not know what constitutes a balanced essay. For most of us, balanced essay क्या है? Okay, pros, cons. Okay, 2 points pros and 2 points cons. So it's balanced. Talk about the positives, talk about the negative. 5 positive, 5 negative. So it's balanced. No, this is a false notion of balance. Balance is if your essay, so balance, the way we define is, balance is if the essay, okay, if the logic, if the arguments, if the stand is based on unbiased, objective facts and honest, credible arguments. That is balance. What's a balance? What's a balanced essay? Balanced essay is आप जो भी logic दे रहे हो, आप जो भी arguments दे रहे हो, whatever stand you have taken, is that based on unbiased? Is it based on facts and honest, credible arguments? Okay, so something like, okay, say an act of murder. Write about it. Act of murder mein, you cannot have pros 2 points and cons 2 points and say balance. So act of murder has to be criticized. Iska pros ho hi nahi sakta. Act of murder has to be, okay, say punished. Usme pros cons ho hi dikhaoge aap. So if the act of murder is established by logical arguments, if it is established by credible evidences, if it is established by an honest jury, the punishment has to be consistent. Okay, then I say it's a balanced essay. So balance is about the quality of your arguments, not about the balance in pros and cons. Balance is in terms of, I said, quality and the basis of your arguments. Okay. So if I declare something is wrong, say if I ask you, tell me about the policy or this scheme called Agniveer. Okay, balance is not 2 points for, 2 points against. Balance is take a stand. My stand is, by and large, Agniveer is good. Why do you say so? A why will decide kya balance hai ya nahi. Why? Because I'm a great fan of BJP, so it is good. Why? Because I think it's a new idea. Nobody has done it, so it's good. Okay, then you're not giving me good logical answer. Or it's bad. Why it's bad? Because I am anti-BJP. So kharab hoega hi hoga. So it's not about the stand you take. It's about how you justify the stand. Your balance comes from the quality and the basis of what you say. I hope I have explained this idea. ये बहुत बड़ा myth है. It's a very big myth around what constitutes a balanced essay. Okay. Now a couple of other myths हैं. Okay. Other myths में, I think the fourth point है the role of quotes. The role of quotes. Okay, I mean, I have found endless questions on should we start an essay with a quote? इसके लिए पहले समझना होगा कि quote है क्या? What's a quote? Quote is an abstract from something said somewhere, something written somewhere. Okay, a great man like Bhanu Pratap has said something in an article. I pick up a sentence, that's the quote. A great man like Martin Luther King has said something. I pick up a sentence that I'm quoting him. Basically, I'm saying it's a great idea. He said so, or he or she wrote so. Quote is not a proverb, as in proverb. I hope you understand this. And quote का purpose क्या होता है? The purpose of quote is basically to add credibility to what you are saying. Correct? So I believe in non-violence. Gandhiji was a great man. He said this about non-violence because he is great. He says a great thing. Therefore, my idea is also right. So I use quotes to justify my stand. And similarly about facts, why do I give facts? If the UN says so, if Niti Aayog's document says so, तो सही होगा, तो मैं भी तो वही कह रहा हूं. So I'm right. So quotes help us establish credibility. Okay, acha. And if I have, very, very important, if I have an appropriate quote, it shows I am well-read. It shows, okay, I have good understanding of issues. Agar quote aapka appropriate hai. The problem with us is most of us do not know more than 3-4 quotes. Okay. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, एक quote आपको पता है. Democracy of the people, by the people, for the people, एक quote पता है आपको. Okay. So these kind of quotes are boring quotes. ये देख के गुस्सा आता है. And some of you might know a bit more, where the mind is without fear and head is held high. उसके आगे भी नहीं पता क्या है. Okay. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. You don't even know it was Robert Frost or Robert Browning, for that matter. तो ऐसे quotes का कोई फायदा नहीं है. You're only killing yourself. So if you can really recall a quote that is appropriate, the topic दिया है, उसका fitting होना चाहिए quote, then great. Which means quote is not an absolute necessity. In fact, I will suggest frame an interesting statement. Okay, and if that statement catches the wisdom, तो वही आपका quote हो गया. Forget about naming somebody. So start the essay with a quote is not a necessity. It's irritating if, in fact, if the quote are unnecessary and repetitive and all others have used it. सबसे गुस्सा आता है quote on Vasudev Kutumbakam. It's an abused, overused, misused statement. We don't even know the roots of it. We don't even mean it. And we keep on talking about it, okay, like a mindless, headless chicken. So quote अच्छा है, provided it's appropriate and really interesting idea that looks like you have read something. तो अगर आपने 2-3 अच्छी किताबें पढ़ी हैं and you like it and you get the quotes from the newspaper articles you read. Okay, आपने article अच्छा पढ़ा, pick up a sentence from there, no? Wow, what a wonderful idea. Okay, about agriculture. Okay, that agriculture is the soul of India and not merely an economic adage. Okay, it's a very nice idea. I can use it somewhere. Okay, no development of a country is possible if the country does not have a sense of internal cohesion. Okay, I think I like this. Like, I'll use it. Who said this? Raja, okay, C. Mohan, he has said this. That's wonderful. So you have to consciously cultivate a bank of quotes. If possible, identify 4, 5, 6 themes and memorize 5, 6 statements against them, which in our booklet for essay support will give that to you. So use kar lo, you can memorize it and then use it. Otherwise, don't force yourself on the quotes, please. Quotes is not the basis of getting good marks. ये तो वही जबरदस्ती का आपने, okay, you have done correlationship. Okay, my friend cleared the examination, became topper. Why? He put on a red shirt. Okay, so आपका focus सब हटा गया. Red shirt पहना था, and I also put on red shirt. So why did he score good essays? Because he began the essay with a quote. For heaven's sake, I hope you understand what I mean by a false correlationship. It's a coincidence the guy used a quote and he got good marks. That's one misnomer you have. Okay. 5th misnomer is starting the essay with a story. ये तो I don't know, mother of say confusion lately. We call this as anecdotes. Okay, start an essay with a story. एक नया debate है. Can we start? Guys, there is no formula for a good essay. Okay? If you can write a story and convey the message smartly, do it. But force मत करो कि story लिखेंगे जब ही marks आएगा. I said the best example of a good essay is your newspaper editorials. 3000 word का होता है, continuous prose है, arguments are there, good language is there. Okay, and how many such articles have you seen starting with a story? How many articles have you seen begin with a quote? Not required, no? So anecdote, story-based is not a necessity. Look at my argument here. Dekho. Your essay, I'll talk about. Essay is 1,000 words. 1,000 words mein, okay, can you afford to write a story of 2 pages? 1,000 words means approximately 10 to 12 pages. ये होगा आपका? Can you afford a 2-page story? You cannot. Maximum, you tell me, what should be the length of a story? 3/4 of a page. How many paragraphs? 2 paragraphs. Okay, half a page. There are 3 paragraphs. How many words do you think is 3 paragraphs in 1 page? एक पेज में कितना words आता है in totality? Around 100. 150 is too high, too ambitious. 100, 150 भी ले लेते हैं. If I say half a page or 3/4 of a page, 50 word or 70 words, you have to be bloody good to write a good story in 70 words. If you can do that, do it. To convey a message powerfully in 70 words, you need immense practice. You have to be in control of your language, expressions, control of imagery. The story पढ़ने का मतलब क्या है? That I am creating an imagery. There's this person, this condition, this what's happening. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling emotional. Story का purpose वही है ना? To evoke an image about what's happening. If you're struggling with basic language and basic vocabulary, your stories will be pathetic. Safe is, don't adventure into that form अगर आपको confidence नहीं है तो. And for story type of writing, practice, God knows how many essays before you control that art. It's like, how will I say good evening to all of you? Infinite ways. One way could be, I can sing like a soprano, okay, एकदम opera style में, high pitch में, good evening, I can vibrate for half a second, or half a minute. Can I do that? Yes. Then I have to be a very, very good opera singer, right? I can't walk up and say anything in the name of कि गाना गा के good evening बोल दिया. So a story anecdote-based write-up has that limitation. So my suggestion, should you use this? Yes. Provided you have practiced it. Ask a teacher, how is your story writing skills? Can you be brief in 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs? If no, then don't do it. Then you are playing with a fire here. Okay, you will end up messing your essay because it's a very pathetic beginning. So ये सब जो हमारे norms बन गए unnecessarily. Why? Because some topper said, I wrote a story. Then everybody is writing a story. Okay, year after year in every attempt story ही लिख रहे हैं. ठीक है? So don't force a quote if you do not have a good quote. Don't force a story if you do not have the practice of writing a story. Don't try to give pros and cons balanced, in terms of number of points on either side. Don't kill yourself for language, but keep improving whatever language you can. And don't write everything in an essay. Essay is limited. You cannot have infinite points in a limited essay. Completeness is what you must aspire for. Completeness, I give an example what I mean by a good complete essay. So what I will demonstrate all of this through the topics that I take up for conversation. Okay, and one of you asked me about the presentation. Okay, so essay is not the typical purist or Victorian essay of the Victorian times. ऐसा नहीं है. Paragraph, 1 or 2 bullets, paragraph, a subheading with underlining, one paragraph, second paragraph, third, fourth, fifth, another subheading, illustrate with a schematic, a diagram if you have a really relevant diagram. But don't draw maps. Like, don't show your geography skills or map making skills. Mat dikhaiye aap. Schematic, flow chart is good enough. It shows that you have a logical thinking. You don't have to sketch a cartoon to convey a message, not required. A table will do, a graph will do, but a graph must be really informative graph, not a randomly drawn graph that has no sense of its trend. And I'll say use one of it. A schematic or one graph or one tabular representation, that's all. I will stress on a very important point. 2 points, with two very important points. So, conscious, I'm stressing on this, stressing on point. One important point is, be honest, not naive, as in simple, stupid. And very importantly, no creativity for the sake of creativity. Okay? Because you must understand a very important thing, that your essay is being evaluated. You will get marks. People who write for newspapers are not getting marks. Okay. See, essay क्यों लिखा जाता है? One is, I write because I like to write. I write because I want to express what I feel. I write because, okay, I want to share my new ideas. Okay. So ये 3 reasons हैं हम क्यों लिखेंगे? I'm sharing what I think is a new idea. And some of us write because we enjoy writing. अच्छा लगता है लिखने में. It's like diary writing. I love, okay, and diary writing will have all my gory secrets also, if I'm honest about diary writing. ठीक है? But in this essay, the examination hai. It is not diary writing. It is not, okay, sharing what I feel. For heaven's sake, don't do that. Okay, say I love moving around bare body. मजा आता है. But मैं interview जा रहा हूं. Okay, so even if I love bare body, I better put on a smart shirt. That's the whole difference. So when you are honest, don't be gullible and stupid. And 100% you know, कौन सा stand dangerous stand है. You know this. What idea is parochial? आपको पता है. What idea is sexist? What idea is racist? What idea is communal? आपको पता है ये चीज. Which idea is absolute no in global diplomacy? No matter how much I hate a country or a leader, you can't be abusive. You know this, don't do it, no? As simple as that. Because you are being judged. Essays is putting a best foot forward. I'm a great man, a thinking man. I'm not arrogant. Okay, I'm grounded. I feel for the country. Select me. That is the message you are sending across. So in the essays, don't be creative for the sake of being creative with new ideas, and they are totally not in connect with the principles that you stand for or you should stand for. You have seen na television debates में बड़ी honesty होती है वहां पर. Okay, television debates you can find lot of creativity in how we abuse each other. उनका purpose ही TRP लेना है. Marks देना तो है नहीं. But you can't do that because you are putting up a good front for yourself. I'm stressing on this. So even if you have an original idea, keep it to yourself because you know that can be a dangerous stand. So no creativity for the sake of creativity. And the question is, तो सर क्या झूठ बोलें? उतना ही आप कमीने इंसान हो झूठ बोलो फिर और क्या? If you're convinced about the fact कि एकदम घटिया आदमी हूं मैं, and I love, okay, probably soiling myself like a pig, but there show yourself as a very nice horse. Show yourself as a lovely, nice, gentle person and not the pig grovel in dirt. If it comes to that, yes, lie. And keep praying that your lying is consistent for 10 pages. ये तो आपकी किस्मत है. Okay? So no creativity, no honesty, which is stupid honesty. And you know you're making a mistake. That's one. Second very important point I'm stressing on is, I hope you all got it. इतने obvious points है ना, मुझे कहते ही लगता है यार मैं क्यों ही कह रहा हूं, but ये mistakes आप लोग करते हो. Okay? Anyways, the next point. What I'm stressing on is, a good essay in terms of priority, what matters most. This is my formula. Okay. I call this as my Roca principle. Ekdam patented. I've applied for it. It's indigenous, ingenious. Okay. What is a good essay? And in priority, this R is for relevance. I'll teach this to you. Relevance means writing what you are asked. Great language, lovely arguments, brilliant examples, great data, but not writing what is being asked. You'll get 0. Okay. Okay language, acceptable facts, couple of errors maybe in writing, but writing what's asked, and rightly so, you'll get average and good marks. This is one common reason why we miss the essay. What happens? In 1 year, I got 120, 130, other year, I got only 70. Why? The most common reason is, okay, they do not write on what is asked. If I ask you, how's the weather outside? And you're commenting on, okay, that I ate chole bhature this afternoon, okay, you have not got what was being asked. So spend enough time to know the topic, even for answer writing. Some of you are in the geography test series. I've shown that to you. कि अगर question समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, and you write 4 pages, no consequence. You might as well leave that question and write something else, maybe. So know the topic. And the problem for most of us is, we try discovering the topic while writing. And as I write, I discover. As I'm writing, I'm finding out, acha, ye meaning tha shayad. That is the biggest problem. So relevance is the most important first quality. Second, okay idea, it's not wrong ideas, okay ideas, but well organized. Structure of an essay is very important. You saying things as a part of a logical flow. देखो, आपसे क्या, what am I expecting out of you? That if you become an administrator, you have to be logical. You have to be organized. How do I know you're organized? By your write-up. If your write-up has a proper flow, if a write-up has a logical link, 1 point, 2nd point, 3rd point, if the essay has a sense of good priority, means you as an individual is also arranged and logical. Again, same problem. Most of us don't have a conscious plan. We write as the ideas come. We write as what strikes us. Okay, because our focus is write 10 pages. The focus is, okay, fill the pages. Spend conscious time, okay, organizing. And देखो, ये दो चीज ऐसा है. You have to do it before you start writing. Okay, if you do not do this, your essay can't be good. Example, I'll talk about disaster management. You cannot make a building disaster-proof after making the building. Okay, making something disaster-resilient or making an earthquake-proof building is while you are constructing, correct? Foundation matter, walls matter. ये नहीं कि बना दिया यार, अब इसको बनाता हूँ earthquake resistant. You can't do it. The same thing. Environment can't be an afterthought. कि भाई रोड बना लेते हैं, बाद में environment देखते हैं. For us, writing, पहले पढ़ लेते हैं, फिर writing करते हैं. It cannot happen. It has to happen along with your writing and reading. In fact, I was reading a book. It says that your civil services preparation should start with your personality development. For most of us, ये model reversed है कि पहले clear करते हैं, last में देखते हैं personality called as interview. It should actually be reversed. Because these things can't be afterthought. So before you start writing, the essay has to be structured. Okay, point 1 is this, point 2 is this, point 4 is third is this. This is where I will give example. This is where I'll give this logic. So spend time, if required, even half an hour if required, to organize and get the structure right. Write for 1 hour, even if it means writing for only 7 pages. Koi dikkat nahi hai. So these two things have to be done first. This C is for completeness, for clarity and coherence. This can happen while writing. This requires language. This requires your choice of expressions, clarity of thought. This clarity also comes from your base in GS. Agar aapka GS weak hai, you can't have clarity. This clarity requires current affairs. Clarity of thought, complete sense. You have covered all important points. Matlab aapka current affairs has to be very, very good. And A stands for being analytical. Means go deep. Don't be superfluous. Don't be shallow. Go deep. Give reasons. Support with arguments. This I call as my Roca principle. And I'll spend a lot of time in doing these two. Because in 15 essay classes, I cannot do these two. Yes, I will have some discussions on themes. I'll give you some write-up and conversation we'll have. But this largely is what you are over last 1 year or 6-7 months. मैं थोड़ी आपका GS पढ़ा पाऊंगा अभी यहाँ पर. I'll say, in Constitution, write this. This problem happening in India, write about it. ये challenge है global issues में, write about it. But your awareness here comes from your GS base, your optional base, your overall preparation. So my work as an essay teacher is primarily here. Take up a topic and tell you how to understand the topic. Take up a topic and tell you how to organize the topic. Kya likhenge andar, that comes from your other learnings. So essays mein, don't treat the essays as naive, creative write-ups. Essays are not exercises in demonstrating your creativity. Essays are purposeful. They are being basis of your evaluation. Aapko marks milega. So if people ask me, sir, can I write a controversial point? My answer is, if you know it's controversial, don't write about it, no. And nahi pata to likh do and wait that your point gets ignored. So can we take an extreme idea? Arre, aapko pata hai extreme hai, to kyun likhoge aap? And what happens is, controversy comes in the way we treat the subject, not about the issue. Issue mein kya hai? I know murder hai to kharab hai. If it's writing, it's bad. If no rule of law, it's bad. And if it is autocratic, it's bad. Environmental problem, it's bad. Isme kya debate hai? Controversy is if you link that with some political bias. You link that with selective perception. You promote something justified because you believe in that type of political dispensation. The problem hai na. So if you know it's extreme, you 100% know this. You know it's radical idea. Don't do it here. If you come with an idea of some radical change for the country, do it after getting into service. Abhi, put your best foot forward. Demonstrate your best personality, which is balanced, considerate, sensitive, logical, open to ideas, not biased, solution oriented. Good enough. That's about it. Okay. So I hope you all understood, by and large, the general idea of what is a good essay. Okay. So let's move on to the next step. तो यही सारा चीज अब आपको डेमोन्स्ट्रेट करा देंगे. Okay, what I'll support you with? Okay, let me tell you that also. So as a part of program, I'll teach you techniques of writing and structuring. I've started today also. Okay. I'll support you with topic discussions. So topic discussions will be demonstration of techniques I teach you. Okay. I will have thematic discussions also, themes. There's a difference between a topic and a theme. A topic like social media is a double-edged sword. This is the topic. The theme called social media and its perils. Okay? The topic is the woman of today getting a raw deal. The theme is women issues. What we can prepare is themes. What we can practice is topics. Okay? And I'll keep it as diverse as possible. But seeing a topic, don't end up writing the whole theme here. You have to select it because the theme is more broad, topic is very specific. Okay, say a very specific topic. Can new education policy solve the problem of universal education? The theme is education reforms. इसमें तो बहुत कुछ आएगा. यहां बड़ा specific है. You should know what is NEP and you must know what's universal education and tell me about this in context of today's world or India's conditions. So in our classes, we will have thematic conversations also, and some of the themes I'll give you video classes. कुछ हम क्लास में लाइव कराएंगे and I'll give you 4, 5, 6 videos. आप अपने आप देख लेना. Okay, which I've discussed earlier, they're still relevant. Okay, so thematic discussions, plus of course you also have the tests. So, and as a support, we'll give you a booklet also. A booklet which has been updated in terms of quotes hain, stories hain, book abstracts hain, kuch speeches ke abstract hain, and a good one if you actually spend time with it. So this is what is part of your essays program. Okay, so techniques of writing, okay, discuss, and the topic discussions will include both abstract topics and also topical essays. And I'll spend more time on philosophical abstract topics because I believe most of you are concerned about that. I'm going to be biased in favor of discussing more of abstract topics. So I'm discussing what are the steps of understanding and developing your essay. Okay? Steps towards understanding and developing an essay. Developing an essay. Steps towards understanding and developing an essay. देखो, generally what do we do? Generally, step 1 is you read the topic or read the topics. Step 2, you choose one. Step 3, a very abused or misused technique is you do some brainstorming. God knows what it means. And step 4, you do some line diagrams. Okay, typically I've seen notebooks like ये पेज है आपका. Okay, आपने एक टॉपिक उठाया, कुछ थोड़ा बहुत सोचा, okay, I think I'll go for this. And then I do some jottings here, कुछ random लिखा, कुछ लिख दे ऐसे. And then, these two are connected, and these two are connected. इसको जोड़ दिया आपने. This and this, I will write this one first. Okay, ऐसे कर दिया. And the next thing you do is You start writing. And you're struggling with a good quote. So Vasudev Kutumbakam comes in, or a story. Okay, some Rajesh in some corner, and drought is there, and water nahi mil raha hai. He comes home, and the father is dead, and he commits suicide, and therefore the story begins. Okay, bada common hai. I have not seen any difference here. Okay, droughts pe you try to bring pathos, but it mostly borders on some incomplete comedy. Okay, you try to bring that social sensitivity. कि कितने गरीब लोग हैं, परेशान हैं, और ये हैं, वो हैं. Okay, but I know you are struggling more than the person who was a poor man. Okay, so can I say this is what we generally do? Anybody has any variant of this? Let me know. Okay, of course, उसके पहले एक थोड़ा सा prayer भी बोल देते हो. Okay, राम नाम सत्य है यार. Okay, who can challenge God? You start off. Okay, so I challenge this. Okay, read the topics, choose a topic. Okay, something in the name of brainstorming. Okay, and then you start writing. Okay, so I will take you through a step. Okay, the step number 1 is, of course, read and choose a topic. Now, choose a topic का एक ही basis होना चाहिए. In the first instance, what do you think? Can you write about it or not? There is no way of evaluating that till you have written about it. But a gut feeling होता है, यार ये लिख लेंगे हम लोग. Trust that gut instinct. Okay? Don't be too dramatic in terms of taking extreme risk, and don't start with a preconceived notion कि अगर topic होगा on environment, I will not write. I will not attempt any question on, say, economic reforms. By all reasons, you might have 5 topics only on economic reforms. Now, God has a way of getting back to you. You avoid it and वही होने वाला है. Murphy's law. What you avoid is what you'll get. You go with an open mind. You have done 6-7 themes. You have done a good GS reading. You must have the confidence that if I can't write, then nobody worth the name to qualify can write now. Because यार और क्या पढ़ते यार आप लोग? History, geography, okay, science, technology, economy, जो बचा कुचा था ethics भी डाल दिया. Okay, what more could you have read? So anybody saying I don't have content is being uncharitable, is lying. You will definitely have one topic in which you are relatively more confident, and one topic, okay, touch and go, yaar, kash nahi hota, but yahi best hai of the remaining. You will have that position. Okay, and take up the topic with a gut feeling. Some of them do, sir, मैं पहले लिख लेता हूं difficult topic, so that good topic I can write more. No, don't do that. Start with the one that you're confident about, and the time limit is 1.5 hours. Don't cross even a single minute more. In fact, जो easy topic लग रहा है, write for 10 minutes less. Even if I get 2-3 marks less here, I want to give time to the other essay in which I'm not as sure. Okay, so divide your time very, very sharply. Choose a topic based on your first impression, which is generally right. और एक बार choose करने के बाद में, don't change the topic. You don't have time for that. I've seen students writing for 3 pages, काट के एक और नया शुरू करते हैं. That is a blunder. Okay, that's why be careful when you choose. Then no going back. उसी में develop करो, and the techniques we tell you will be enough to develop your essay on it. So choose your topic wisely. Okay, please don't play a brave heart. Some of you do that. If I write on a difficult topic, I'll get more marks. Difficult topic cuts both ways. Mark अच्छा ही मिल सकता, 0 होगा, पूरा 0 मिल जाएगा. Write on what you want to write on, okay, which you think you know well. That is the only criteria for choosing a topic. कि आपको topic पढ़ के समझ में आ रहा है. तो इतना गंदा किस्मत लेके आओगे, then you don't deserve to qualify at all. So it is divine conspiracy to destroy your chance. How can you fight God then? He's asking me, sir, what if no topic I can write on? Prepare for next year. Come back and join next year. What can you do? कोई भी टॉपिक आपके वाला नहीं है, you can't write 100% sure, pack up. Okay, ये शिव जी का जो तपस्या था, हमारे तपस्या में कुछ कमी रह गई, ठीक है, अगले साल एक और साल करो. ऐसे नहीं होता यार. You have to be really pathetic in terms of your destiny, okay, to let that happen. एक दो टॉपिक, देर टॉपिक मिल जाता है. वन टॉपिक इज जनरली गुड वन, अदर वन टच एंड गो. ठीक है, तो दैट्स अच्छा. नेक्स्ट इज you dissect the topic and understand the scope of the topic. You dissect the topic and you understand the scope of the topic. ये जो आप brainstorming करते हो ना, this is not a bad idea. Brainstorming is a good thing. But something like exercise and physiotherapy. Is exercise bad? No, it's not. Never. The problem is you should know what to exercise for which part of your body and when. So if you know your this part of the muscle is weaker, please exercise karo na. You know you have a problem with your lungs, breathing, then do breathing exercise. So you must know the brainstorming is like an exercise which has to be directed. जैसे कि write about climate of Delhi. ठीक है, brainstorming. It's hot, sweltery, roads are burning, tires burst, cars catch fire, a forest starts burning, water is wasted, Yamuna goes dry. सारे points correct हैं, but all random. But if I directly I'll say climate of Delhi, एक काम करो, इसको divide करो 5 पार्ट में. Climate of Delhi in terms of temperatures. How has it changed? Climate of Delhi in terms of how does it feel to be on the roads? Climate in terms of why so? Climate in terms of how does it impact flora and fauna? Climate in terms of urban amenities. Ab brainstorm karo. So you have got a vertical called as temperature discussion kar diya alag se. Then you have got a vertical that says amenities are challenged of what kind. Then a vertical you talk in terms of why that problem. So when you are brainstorming, you need to train the mind to think in some direction. ये क्यों important है? Because your essay has a time and a word limit. अगर हम बोले कि टॉपिक दिया, जाओ लिखो, जब मन करे सबमिट कर देना. आराम से brainstorming, हुक्का पी के कर रहे हैं, बालकनी में बैठ के कर रहे हैं, गुफ्तगू कर रहे हैं, किताब पढ़ के कर रहे हैं, fine, do it. And in that zone, you can rewrite also ना. मैं लिख दिया, I've gone to sleep for 2 hours. Wake up, नहीं, ये अच्छा नहीं है. It's not my style. I can cut it off and let me start again. Okay, get me a cup of coffee. I'll write again. Exam में एक ही attempt मिलेगा आपको. One shot. You can't afford to experiment. You can't afford to make a mistake here. That's why before you enter the topic, make sure your direction is right. So spend time in dissecting the topic. काट वाट के क्या purpose है, क्या design है, what is it asking more, what asking less, what I can write, what I can't write. Then you dive into the brainstorming. I call that as directed brainstorming. So brainstorm with a purpose. You brainstorm with some objectives. This ये जो technique है, what I'm doing is I try to lay down the boundaries of what I will write down. ये पहले set करो. If you don't have the boundaries, you can go haywire. I will not write this, but I will write this. Or this I will write first and this I will write next. Develop the boundaries of your essay and then get into the essay. ठीक है? So dissecting the topic and understanding the scope of the topic. And then what you must do is, step 3 is, consciously decide on what to prioritize. When you do this, you'll have hundreds of points. But your objective has to be prioritize. Remember, completeness and not comprehensive. You have to be complete. Complete in terms of the most important 5 points. The most impressive solution, the most interesting dimension, the most interesting insight. So prioritize. So यहाँ पर क्या कर रहे हो? Brainstorm. You got some points and you began writing. I'll say no. अभी भी आपका शुरू नहीं हुआ, writing शुरू नहीं हुआ. And you're doing this, your writing will become sharper eventually. So prioritize. In prioritize, decide on the dimensions first. Decide on the dimensions. ये पहले decide कर दो. Like I gave you dimensions of climate change of Delhi. क्या dimensions है? Why climate change? Dimension क्या है? How does it feel? Dimension क्या है? Urban amenities. So मेरे heading वैसी रहेगा. Delhi's climate change and challenges of urban amenities. Delhi's climate change and adverse consequences on flora and fauna of Delhi rich forest. Delhi's climate change and impact on lives of common man, street and homeless population. Delhi's climate change reasons - different from climate change elements of other areas. अगर dimensions मेरे clear हैं, like, and I have the right priority, my essay can't go wrong. And this will help you write more smoothly. Then you know ना कि यार I'm running out of time. I had 5 dimensions. अभी मैं 2 में फंसा हुआ हूँ. एक को let me telescope one. Or maybe the more important one write first. The not so important, I'll put in the conclusion itself. So if you can do this पहले से, decide the dimensions पहले से. What are dimensions? And make sure that these dimensions are interesting, are insightful. These dimensions are really thought-provoking. Okay? So about Delhi's climate change. Okay, one interesting dimension is that the impact of Delhi's climate change is disproportionate on the migrants and the people of unauthorized areas or unauthorized colonies. A बहुत अलग dimension है, rather than painting the entire Delhi into one homogeneous population. Okay, Delhi's climate change and the solutions people take to address climate change actually aggravates the problem. कैसे? More warm, I use more AC. More AC, it becomes all the more hotter. Okay, more hot, I use more water. More water, I run out of water, and ultimately I have more problems. It's like a positive feedback. It keeps escalating like a chain reaction. Typical of urban areas of the world. Vicious cycle, correct. Insight हुआ ना, एक interesting dimension हुआ. Rather than just saying it feels hot, I gave a new dimension to what Delhi's climate change does. So we need to identify dimensions and pick up the most interesting one to write on. That's why no comprehensiveness, keep it complete. Achha, next. Next is you have to consciously think about how to make the essay more smart and interesting. एक तो हो गया, see, my dimension is good. Dimension is good is essay is interesting. But उसके अंदर भी, can I write something about that particular dimension that elevates the quality of my write-up? जैसे कि in Delhi's climate change, I add the idea. It's very interesting that Delhi's climate change, despite the fact that Delhi is not far from the Himalayas, Delhi is not really the hottest place in the world, but temperatures of Delhi are very comparable to some of the hot deserts of the world. In recent times, the extreme temperatures are those which was once applicable for City of Mexico, once applicable for some of the driest deserts. It looks like Delhi is having problems related to something else. So what I'm doing is I have an interesting point. उसके ऊपर add कर रहे हैं good examples, good data. Delhi is typical what the colonizers thought about India as a country of heat and dust. If you know this book, Heat and Dust, there's a very famous classic novel and a movie also. So I'm referring my write-up to some good book, some good speech, some good movie. It looks like apocalypse, climate change and collapse. I'm referring my discussions to some good examples. I hope you all get the idea here. So to elevate, you don't have to do for every dimension. In some dimensions, I say elevate the level of conversation. जिसमें कि आप book references दे दो, movie का reference दे दो ना. Can think of a good movie that talks about hot climate change. कुछ ऐसा कुछ है? एक Fahrenheit movie है, if you have thought about it. Whatever you can think of. Okay. The problem of climate change is very beautifully captured in talk about a movie maybe. This is what I call as giving your essay a nudge effect. Nudge का मतलब एक push. It's a good essay. One small push, it becomes a brilliant write-up. अब पूरे essay में आपको 2-3 करना है. So you see, these are things. So I call this as a nudge effect. Nudge effect is okay, something extra push in your essay. With a movie, with a book, with a speech, with a global summit as a discussion हुआ था. Okay, while the world talks about Mumbai submerging, okay, by 2030, 50, whatever, half of Mumbai submerging, and not very 2050, okay, not very I can say encouraging ideas about Delhi as a city also. If not submerged, in Delhi could run dry. ठीक है, बता दिया and compared it. I hope you got it. So don't fill pages. Plan, prioritize, interesting dimensions, good examples, and then move towards okay, solutions क्या हो सकते हैं and the final conclusion eventually. So this is where I will put lot of focus on how to take up a topic, dissect it, identify the dimensions, okay, identify how to give a nudge effect, and then you start off. Okay, moving ahead. The structure of the essay. Structure of the essay. How will your essay be organized? The structure of your essay. Some of these points I expect you to internalize, please. एक बार आप, if you really understand what I'm saying, okay, your writing will be more easy. Spend some time reading and asking yourself if it makes sense or not. And please don't challenge yourself in saying, okay, sir, ये तो नहीं हो पाएगा. I mean, see, you have to qualify. आपको 140 लेके आना है. Okay, you are aspiring to be in the top 30, 20, whatever. So don't even question that. There are people who do it. You'll also do it. Okay. Structure ka. So let us target 1,000 words into 2. Logic hai har point ka. See, if you write with maddening speed, and ekdam crazy speed, you cannot write more than 3,000 words in 3 hours. ये हो ही नहीं सकता. 3,000 meaningful words that make sense, that tell us about your understanding, ये upper limit है. Typical is, okay, this is like you have by hearted the answer और आप लिख रहे हो. Although you are saying you have got 3 hours, you're also spending time on thinking about the essay. Effectively, you are writing for less than 2 hours. Okay? Less than 2 hours. So 1,000 plus 1,000 is like an upper limit. इसके ऊपर जा नहीं सकते आप. If you write more here, this will get destroyed. You have to have a balance here. My suggestion generally is the first essay write in 1,000 words because you know it a bit more. The second essay, I'm okay with 800, 900 words also. And that's approximately 10, 12 pages. That's approximately 9 to 10 pages. Perfectly fine. You cannot do more than this. 1,500 word, 1,200 word, 2,000 word has no idea about writing. कभी लिखा ही नहीं है ऐसे उसने. कभी लिख के देखना खुद पेस में how much time you need to write down okay, 1,000 words. And meaningful word, thought-provoking words. I mean, if I was attempting, I would probably attempt 2 essays in about 900 words. इसको 900 रखूंगा और इसको 800 रखूंगा. I'm happy with this. But do justice to the dimensions I've taken. Good examples, beautiful analogies, reference to some interesting idea. I would think and write good, nice, meaningful words. इतना भी काफी है. Any case, I said, don't aspire more than 1,000 words. You don't want to write one very good, other one is pathetic one. वो नहीं कर सकते आप. Okay, that's one point. Second point is, now see, if it is a 900 to 1,200 words ka essay, this is approximately what? Approximately around, I said, 10 to 12 pages. That's the range, more or less. 10, 12 pages mein, there has to be an introduction. There has to be a conclusion. Necessary hai. Without a logical beginning, it only tells me you are a random person. And without a logical conclusion, it tells me you have no sense of organizing, okay, and prioritizing. In fact, a good essay without conclusion will not get you good marks. You must take your argument to a logical point. You must have a sense of, remember, completeness. So intro chahiye, conclusion bhi chahiye. Uska nature kya hoga? I can always debate on that. But you do need this. Acha. A 10-page essay or 12-page essay, the introduction is not one paragraph. Most of us believe the first paragraph is introduction. No. Think of a book. The book has a preface. Is the preface one paragraph? Preface itself could be 2 pages. Correct? And thicker the book, more is introduction, correct? If you have a good report, एक पूरा summary introduction होगा, 10 pages का as introduction. Yes. So my recommendation is, the introduction is approximately 1.5 to 2 pages. So I'm looking at about 20% as introduction. Introduction is a section, not a paragraph. Like, it's like if I have a course of 2 months, the intro class is maybe 2 days. If I have a course of 3 days, the intro could be half an hour. Okay. And similarly, the conclusion is not one paragraph. It is a section. And this again is approximately 1.5 to 2 pages. And each page approximately around 2 to 3 paragraphs into 2. So 6 paragraphs banega introduction, 5-6 paragraphs will be conclusion. Okay, a lot of variants here. Okay. And the remaining 60% or say 70%, if I say 15%, is range mein is the actual body of the essay. And this is across about 7 to 8 pages. 7 to 8 pages depends. And each page, like again 2 or 3 paragraphs. And 7-8 pages, now you tell me, to do a good justice to an idea, how much should you write? Ek idea hai. Okay, a good idea as a part of 1,000 word essay. A good idea to do justice. How many pages do you need? मेरा total pages body में 7 से 8 है, तो कैसे एक idea 5 page बन जाएगा? How much? 1 to 1.5 page. So it's one idea is 1.5 page. How many ideas do you need? Upper side, I'll say 6. So if you have 4 to 5 or 6 ideas, good, nice, distinct ideas, your essay is done. You don't need more than that. So you need to have distinct, you need to have a unique, you need to have interesting, okay, 4 to 6 broad dimensions to develop your essay. कोई भी ऐसे उठाओ, टॉपिक उठाओ, उसका 4 broad dimensions बता दो. And write 1 page on each dimension. and each dimension across 4 or 5 paragraphs with 2-3 good examples and maybe one nudge effect if you have one per dimension. Innovation is the future of the country. Can't you give me 4 good dimensions on this? The world of future is around technology. Give me 4 good dimensions why the world of future is about technology. बस आपको 4 चाहिए, 5 उतना ही काफी. And good, nice discussions to develop your essays on. So don't pump ideas. Write on ideas which can be discussed with examples, discussed with facts, and importantly, elaborated. So, बहुत बात क्या है ना? Say if I have what does a dimension? If I have a dimension, what do I need to write good on the dimension? Dimension is one aspect. If a topic has 5 dimensions, मेरा ऐसे बन जाएगा. The treatment of dimension क्या होना चाहिए? Number 1, you should be able to explain it. Explain and elaborate it. See, my dimension is that Delhi summer every year becomes more and more severe. There's progressive increase in severity of Delhi summers. ये मेरा dimension है. इसको elaborate करो. If we are looking at temperature patterns in the last 1 decade, we find that temperatures have consistently increased. There was a time, a decade or 2 ago, a temperature of 40 was considered very hot. But recently, we have now been tolerating temperatures in excess of 48, 45 degrees. We did not hear of heat waves, beyond 1 or 2 spells, and that too lasting for 1 or 2 days. This year, we find the heat spell has been at least 5 heat spells lasting for more than a week or 10 days. Which means that temperatures have consistently increased. While the global warming has happened and temperature increased at 1.1 or 1.2 degrees centigrade over maybe 3-4 decades, Delhi has seen a sharper increase. मैंने क्या किया इसमें? मैंने बस elaborate किया. वही point को मैंने बढ़ा के बोला. I have not explained anything. I only was telling you the temperatures have increased. Example दिया, pattern बताया, gave you some numbers, gave you some data, compared something, what I call as elaboration. It is night. Elaborate this. Elaborate. It is night. It is dark outside. The sun has gone down. It's post-sunset. Summertime, the sunset happens later, but it's orderly pitch dark. It looks like it's almost now 10 o'clock in the night. It is night. Got the idea? In elaboration, एक idea उठाओ, उसको expand करो. Say that thing in 4 or 5 different ways. Now, this is what I call as the skill of narration. Most of us are looking for more points. बता दो. हमारे यार एक point रखो, उसको बढ़ा के दिखाओ. Learn to elaborate it, without adding too much of reasons. I am sad. I don't feel happy today. Since morning, I have been very depressed. I try to laugh, but somehow I don't feel like smiling. And this state of mind for the last 3-4 days. But today is more severe. I'm very sad. Maybe I don't feel well, but it's less about my physical state. It's more about my mental state. I don't know why I feel so discouraged. I don't know why I feel so depressed. It could be I'm missing somebody, but I think I'm sad like I was never before. Don't mind for more points. Don't mind for कि मुझे ज़्यादा ideas दे दो. No. One idea, write more about it. Why do I need a paragraph? Paragraph अगर नहीं होगा, you can't emphasize. अगर point होगा, I'm sad, stop. But when I elaborate it, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm unhappy, I feel demotivated, something about mind, what I'm thinking, I'm emphasizing it. I'm establishing this, I'm really sad today. विदाउट अ पैराग्राफ ये सेंटिमेंट आप कम्युनिकेट नहीं कर सकते. Why do I need a paragraph? Why do I need to write a continuous set of words? Emphasize, to communicate and emphasize, to establish that particular point में मुझे elaboration चाहिए. I call this as narration. Yes, it is not possible in a point. That's why you need a paragraph. अगर point enough था ना, okay, you meet a girl, I love you, खत्म. साइड में कोई और खड़ा है कंपटीशन में, मी टू, आगे बोलना ही नहीं है. बट इलैबोरेट करो ना, यू लव हर, सो व्हाट डज इट मीन? Okay, I can't think of a life without you. You're so beautiful. You keep coming in my dreams. Look at your eyes. Look at your hair. Okay, look at the way you smile. You are so beautiful. I love you. I have not loved anybody else like this. ये जो courtship वाला जो elaboration है, that is impactful. That's why good affairs don't happen on emoji, no? Like emoji में यही मिलेगा answer. This is a skill most of us lack or we have not honed it. Elaboration सीख गए, your work is done. So any dimension you have, learn to elaborate it through a narration. Second, dimension has to be supported. Supported with some facts, supported with some evidence, with some data. Okay. So when you support it, you make it credible. I'm feeling sad. I feel so sleepy. I'm feeling sad. I don't want to get up and walk out. I'm feeling sad. I don't want to even eat anything. I'm sad. Okay, last 2 days, my mother had been telling me that, but now today I realize I'm actually sad. I'm sad. I don't want to open my book also. I have all negative thoughts. So you describe something. This is description. You support description by examples, with facts. Okay. Then what you do is, see if you can force an interesting thing, interesting idea. I'm sad, and I realize that around me, more and more people increasingly are more and more sad. I don't think it's about me. It's about the environment we live in. Something about the toxic news, something about the events that unfold in front of us. I think my sadness is linked to, yes, vibes around me. I'm generally a positive man, but somewhere my sadness is less about sadness, it's more about losing hope. The things, the way they slide down, and they have been sliding down, I don't see we can come out of this mess in the next couple of months or years. That's what makes me sad. Insightful hua? It's not about me, it's about the world I live in, the environment I am living in. ये जो interesting dimension है, that gives you extra brownie points. Because see, these insights force an examiner to think also. क्या ये सही तो बोल रहा है यार, मैं भी तो sad हूँ. Okay. A lockdown effect, yes. My sadness has increased in the COVID times. Maybe partly it could be, okay, my physiological changes because I was having COVID, but I don't think it's as much because of that. It could be something else. Go on with that. Okay, so you try bringing in some insightful ideas, some insightful dimensions, make it interesting, and relate it. Relate it with, now, a movie, relate it with a story, relate it with some event, with some personality. Okay? Like say I'm writing, I'm sad. Today I understand that despite whatever I have around me, I think I'm very blessed. A good family, a good career. I have no financial problem, yet I'm sad. So now I understand why do some of the most successful people commit suicide. It must have been really a mental trauma for a young actor like Sushant Singh Rajput to have committed suicide. Brilliant Bollywood, successful people who we think have achieved the epitome of success. Okay, they also have committed suicide. I didn't appreciate it earlier, but now I think there is some truth in that the higher you rise in life, the lonelier you get. Okay, less you have people to share with, and you become sad. You know where I linked it to now? Personalities, movies, the world around me. So I am sad was a very bland statement, but see how we open up into a very interesting read now. And if you read about, okay, I'm reminded of books like George Orwell's Animal Farm, or George Orwell's 1984. It talks about a dystopic society, okay, where no freedom, no hope, manipulation, that makes the character sad. Maybe I am living that 1984 in my life today. So you can relate it, no? Or think of a movie where you have a sad man. Okay, so sadness probably comes from loss of hope and loss of too much realization of one's own inabilities. Now I can appreciate how a person with low IQ like Forrest Gump was a very happy man. Because he didn't know his limits. He didn't know what could hold him back. And he was a happy man, full of hope. So the mantra is, if you want to get over sadness, run. Okay, run for ambitions, run for a vision, run for the relationships. The solution is keep moving. Okay, the art of narration, the art of giving facts and support, how you can link it with some interesting dimensions, movies. And I'm sure you know this. Aisa ho hi nahi sakta, you do not know any movie. Aisa ho hi nahi sakta, you can't relate to one or two personalities. I'm sure you can. Okay, some current affairs events maybe. Relate karo. And of course, don't forget some interesting dimension that goes into the deep human psyche, that goes into the deep human nature, a philosophy, a bit of spirituality, and you're on. So one bland statement, I'm sad, now looks like a very powerful message. और इसको आप लिखोगे one page में. Okay, so any dimension, ये 4 areas में खोलो. So when you see a topic, understand the topic, break up into 5 dimensions, pick up one dimension and do what? When you're writing, ask yourself, have I made it interesting or not? Did I give a movie reference or not? Did I give a book reference or not? नहीं है, चलो कर लेते हैं एक और. जब 3 dimension हो गया, strike नहीं किया, 4th में तो कुछ ना कुछ strike पक्का करेगा. And you're on. Elaboration, narration, ये consciously करो. Pick up a sentence and learn to write a paragraph on it. Okay? So, come back to our discussions here. So, you have the introduction. You have the body. You have the conclusion. I'll come back on this afterwards. I want to focus on introduction. But idea to ho gaya na what a body is looking like now? 4 or 5 dimensions, bas.